Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're doing a review slash theater reaction to No Time to Die. Unlike Shang-Chi, I feel like this definitely I'm gonna do more like when I do theater reactions. I'm gonna start doing that from now on. But I think the next movie I'm gonna see in the theater probably Eternals or Venom 2. I don't know. First thing before I get into it, I wanted to wait a little bit before doing this review. I wanted to wait like it's. I've been like 24 hours ago. I was literally in the theater, so I was gonna do it yesterday, but I just didn't want to. I wanted to wait to process the movie, and now that I think about it, I think now that I processed it, I've kind of thought about it a bit more, and I think I like it quite a bit more than I kind of initially right after the theater I did. I don't know, I kind of thought about it more, watched a couple movie reviews on it, and then I kind of thought about some stuff, and then I realized, yeah, I liked it quite a bit more. I still have a bunch of issues, but I'll let you know what happens if I see it a second time, which I probably will. Probably with my friend. Definitely not for I don't even think I'm gonna do it after I rank all the Bond movies. But I'm gonna do it, as I said, I'm gonna do it again and probably rank the Bond movies again probably in May. Maybe later. I don't know. Like, I think I might do it every May. I think I said I would do like every May now. I might go back. I might do, yeah, probably every May, but like right before camp. So, and I might move it to like all the way until June, but it's fine. Not much to say, but check out my Bond playlist as well as my Bond movie reviews. And let's go get started. Starting off with what this movie's about. This movie's about Madeline Swan and her connections to the villain and her involving Mr. White and other stuff too. And it's hard to explain what this movie's about. I just want to put that up. And then M created this sort of drug that's meant to eliminate threats, but now it's used as mass destruction. And the villain Staffen wants to wipe out the world with this new thing called, what's it called, Hercules or Hercules, or I'll think about what it's called. Whatever. But yeah, that's kind of what it's about. Next up, we have The Good, and starting out The Good, almost every single action sequence is great. I absolutely love the action sequence with all the defenders, the one in Cuba, all that whole sequence in Cuba was absolutely fantastic. And a couple other sequences, like the car chase at the beginning and the pre-title sequence, that's great. Even the final battle has some great action bits. I have issues with the final battle. I'll talk about that later. But overall, I really enjoy the action sequences. They're all so good. And also, Bond's character arc as a whole throughout this movie, and also the emotions throughout the movie, especially the stuff, involving Nomi, or whatever her name is, her and being 007, that's kind of an interesting little character arc that they have with Bond. I found that kind of interesting. Other stuff, like him having a daughter, sorry if I spoiled that, that's also nice. I'm not going to talk about what happens at the end, but I had issues with that. But as a whole, yeah, I really enjoyed all the character arcs. There's a lot of emotion to it. This is probably the most emotional Bond movie, and I loved all of that. And almost every action sequence, I think the character of Staffen I have issues with, but the performance by Rami Malek is great. He really creepy, probably the creepiest Bond villain, which is kind of shocking.
Positively shocking.
When you're in a franchise with Le Chiffre, Silva, and Donald Pleasance as Blofeld. When you're in with a series of those three villains and you're the creepiest, that's kind of impressive. Because all three of those villains, maybe not so much Silva, but they're all quite creepy villains, I would say. And the opening sequence as a whole with Madeline and Staffen at the beginning of it is great. I thought that was a really nice sequence. The song from Billie Eilish is pretty good. The title sequence, it's not one I have too much to look back to, but it's pretty cool. The final battle, the action itself is great. What's going on with the whole world domination thing, I have issues with that. I'll get into it. Bond as a character, Craig is just amazing. Also, I think even Lea Seydoux, I probably pronounced that wrong, as Madeline Swan, I think is much better in this movie than she ever was in Spectre. In Spectre, I feel like they didn't give her too much to do. Here, they gave her so much to do, a lot of it, and especially the way it connects to Safin. I feel like Safin makes her better, and that's pretty cool. Blofeld, they could have done a bit more. Other stuff like I like whatever the person from Knives Out. That whole Cuba sequence is absolutely fantastic, and I think she's great. I wish she was the actual Bond girl, but it's okay. And Felix Leiter, seeing him again was great. I wish he was in the movie a bit more, but I'm okay with what they did. Some of the other characters like Promi or whatever his name is, whatever the henchman is. I call him Cyclops for no reason, just because he's one actual eye with the bionic eye with this cheesy pun. That's kind of funny. And I thought he was a great henchman. Or the scientist guy, I don't remember his name. Remind me of that stupid character from A View to a Kill. He was actually really fun. I don't know if he really fit the tone of the movie, but he was still a fun character as a whole, and I enjoyed him. Especially in the Cuba sequence where they're kind of swapping hands, where Nomi's gonna get him, or Bond and Felix, or not Felix. I can't think of her name. Whatever the person from Knives Out is. After this clip, I'll take a look at it. And as a whole, I just really enjoyed all of that stuff. Other stuff like Bond having a daughter, I mentioned this, I think is great. And yeah, I thought that was a really interesting character arc as a whole. All the trailers set up a lot of great stuff. Like has almost every single big action sequences. Like especially like the opening sequence, they showed a lot of shots from that. Other stuff, not as much in the Cuba, but all that was great. The Defender action sequence, they showed some stuff with that. And also that scene where they killed that Logan Ash character was really interesting. Reminded me a lot of that scene in For Your Eyes Only, where like he really got that brutality. I have some issues with the fact that I feel like besides that sequence when they're with the Defenders, I feel like throughout at least the second half of the movie, I feel once he does kind of gets the daughter, he feels like more like I don't know how to describe it really, but more like a kind of soft-hearted character if I have to put it one way. Like I feel like the Craig era, I feel like has put Bond in more of like a good-hearted character compared to what he was kind of before that. I think that's kind of interesting. The only other movie where they've kind of tapped into this before the Craig era, I think was probably Majesty's Secret Service. And it's really nice to kind of see that again. But here, I feel like with Casino and Quantum Solace, I feel like he is kind of a good-hearted character. And Skyfall, not so much Spectre. Well, Spectre, there's not much brutality to his performance anyways. So, I don't know how to describe it. Where, like, I feel like he's still kind of good-hearted, but at the same time, kind of a cold-hearted bastard, as Vesper says in Casino Royale. Here, I don't know if they really kind of play into that. Like, with the exception of the Defender sequence, I feel like there are a bunch of things that there. The tone is a bit off, I feel like, throughout the movie. By the way, I'm just saying, I'm going to clamp the good and the mixed together. So, here you go, the mixed. I think, as a whole, the tone is a little off throughout the film. It's kind of dark at times, but other times, it's kind of dark and light, filled with some humor, like especially in the Cuba sequence. I thought that scene where like he thought he was gonna die, but then all the other people died, that was pretty cool. And in general, a lot of the sequences, like at the beginning, with the motorcycle jump, the bridge jump, I feel like the Safin character, I think he should have had more of a personal motivation than a world domination. I feel like this, with Spectre being a bit more of a big and bombastic Bond film, this should have been, I feel like, a bit more grounded. It would have been a nice way to end Craig's character. Maybe do like something like, I don't know, like something a bit more grounded. But like, I will say the one thing is, I think this is the first time where there's like a revenge plot sort of, or a personal arc for Bond, or motivation to do something, in a world domination plot. This is the first time in the series where this has 100% worked. GoldenEye's a little different, so I wouldn't quite count that, but they've done this in Quantum of Solace, Man with the Golden Gun, and License to Kill, and those are probably my biggest faults from all three of those movies. And maybe not Man with the Golden Gun, I have other things I don't like about it, but still. Other stuff, like, I feel like some of the parts involving the end, I just don't know if they quite work. It wasn't as satisfying as I wanted to. I love seeing James Bond drive the Living Daylights Aston Martin. That's pretty awesome. Wish you got to see that in a car chase, which a little disappointing, but it's okay. And although one thing I didn't quite understand is Madeline shot at the beginning, or Madeline shot Sapphin in the heart. Um, Whatever. The Billie Eilish song, yeah, as I mentioned, it's alright. I like it as a Bond song, but I don't know if I really like it that much as a song itself. It's not one of my favorite ones. It's my second least favorite of the Craig ones, because the Craig eras had so many great songs, like You Know My Name and Skyfall are absolutely amazing. I also really like the Sam Smith song. I've liked it so much more over time. I used to not like it, but now I really do. And I just really like all this stuff. I think Nomi as a character, a little odd, I feel like. She's a little annoying. I think Lashana Lynch could have been a bit better. They should have casted maybe a better actress to do it. And it's a little, I don't really see any chemistry with them. But at the same time, with Wade Lynn, I feel like they were trying to do something, and it didn't quite work with like a romantic chemistry. And here, I feel like that's that done right, where like they didn't bother doing any romantic chemistry. Even if I think, like, for example, Madeline was taken out of the film, I don't even think they would have done that anyways, because you could tell they don't have any romantic chemistry, or even really any chemistry on screen. She's a fine enough character. I would wonder if they do like a spin-off. That would be not very good, but I'd watch it because of no reason. Also, the score, I was a little disappointed on the score. That I feel like that's the I think I was expecting something absolutely amazing, up there with some of the best scores, like World Is Not Enough, Tomorrow Never Dies, Die Another Day, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Quantum of Solace. I was expecting it to be up there with some of the best scores, and it's kind of middle of the road. I do like it more than the Thomas Newman scores from Skyfall and Spectre, but as a whole, like, there's some great bits of music, like the whole yeah, you get what I mean. That whole bit, like in the trailer, that's awesome. So the Bond theme that he does is also quite good, but for the most part, it's not that much different from a bunch of other scores, but it's still pretty cool. Now we have the bad, and there's one, I feel like it's kind of hard to pick out the bad, because there are great things to this element, but as a whole, I feel like there's so many elements of this movie I'm very polarized on, that's why there's so much in the mixed. But in the bad, the only thing I'd say I'm not really a fan of, it's just the plot. It's just kind of all over the place. Where, like, the whole nanobot plotline, or the virus, whatever you want to call it, I'm not a huge fan when they do this kind of thing in a lot of action movies. Like, when it works, it really works. Here, it's a little odd, because the way, especially with a lot of the rules they set up, like when Bond comes in contact with anyone, like physically or sort of something like that, and it kills them. Why is that not happening to Madeline? Like, you even mentioned there's not a cure to it. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I feel like they could have come up with something better than this. Like, I like how it kind of plays into the movie. That's my favorite part about it. And then how Sapphin kind of uses it at the end. But I feel like actually there's one other thing about it. I'll take out that later. But as a whole, I just don't think the virus plotline, it just doesn't, or nanobot plotline, it's not so much that I don't like it. It just doesn't feel like Bond. There's a bunch of plot lines I feel like in some other movies that just don't feel like Bond. Like I feel there's a bunch of them, but this just I kind of takes me out of the movie a little bit. Like, a good example of something that does not feel like Bond is the whole voodoo plotline in Live and Let Die. Although I feel like that's a little different, very different. But as a whole, I don't know. I'm just kind of mixed on it. There's a few things I just don't really like about the plotline. And the way it kind of plays into the rest of the movie is just very odd, the way it just kind of ties into it. Especially the way it involves in Saffin's plan. Like, that doesn't quite work. Like, I get the fact that maybe he'd want to kill Alice Spectre, which he already kind of started to. And maybe Bond, I think what they could have done is Bond justifies why he shouldn't kill them. And then maybe they have, like, a big argument on that. That's what they should have done. But instead, it's him killing millions of people. I don't know if that really works, especially with what they set up with the character as a whole throughout the ending. By the way, I love the lair. I think it's my favorite villain's lair in the Craig era, better than the island in Skyfall. But as a whole, a lot of the action in it is great, but what they're setting up for the action to mean, or what the action actually means, it doesn't quite work. But then that's all my thoughts. But I still really love this movie. What's my score? Oh, this is tricky. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it like an 8.7 out of 10. I just said I really loved it. I can't say I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. This is I was having a great time in the theater. There's never a moment where you're bored. And you're always on the edge of your seat throughout the entire movie. I'm never bored throughout it. There's all the action sequences are memorable, and they all pack a punch. The whole movie is just really enjoyable. Some great characters like Bond, Madeline. I even kind of enjoyed the daughter. So, as a whole, I really enjoyed this movie. Pretty great theater experience, although I am not going to the movie theater again on a Sunday night. That was kind of a weird experience. It's because it's a weird way to end your weekend. But as a whole, I mean, my parents did not enjoy the movie as much as I did. Like, my dad said this is one of his least favorite Bond movies. I was like blabbering on it for a while. I'm probably going to see this again in the theater. I don't know. It'll be a little while until I do that. I have one friend that's a Bond fan. It's sad because not a lot of my friends at school are Bond fans. But as a whole, I really enjoyed this movie, and I'd give it 4.5, 4-star. Not quite 4.5. I had some issues, but I think this was one where the more and more I rewatch it, the more and more I like it. For now, I'll place it at number 10. Just behind Dr. No, which is kind of funny because that's the first Bond movie, right to the first to the last. Just because there's so much in this movie that I really like, but there's a bunch of things that I'm just not such a huge fan of. But that concludes this review, so thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.